From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxboro, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxboro.
Hello everyone, welcome to Around Foxboro. My name is Jerry Love. Today we have a wonderful guest. He is the president of Foxboro Rotary Club. Welcome to our show.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Can you please tell us your name?
My name is Louis Gordon, and as you say, I'm the president of the Rotary Club this year.
Great. So Lou, could you tell our audience about Foxboro Rotary Club?
Wow, there's so much to say. The basics, of course, it's a part of the much, much larger Rotary International organization, which is a worldwide organization. The Rotary organization under Rotary International is divided into districts and then districts into clubs. And our club is for Foxboro, and there are, in this district, which covers southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island, there are 67 different Rotary clubs. Around the world, there's over 2 million members of Rotary, and something I think like 30-odd thousand clubs. So it's a very large organization with a lot of history behind it. Rotary International was formed Rotary was formed in 1905 or 6 in Chicago. And it grew from there and eventually became as the international organization that it is now. The clubs in Rotary clubs seek to serve the communities in which they live, and also internationally they try to do some good things that help things be better. The motto of the Rotary organization is service above self, which means that we're trying to gather together groups of people who want to make some positive contribution to the community, both locally and internationally. Our club in Foxboro was chartered in around 1970. We have about 30 members in it, and our oldest member is 96, I think, and our youngest member is like 30, and so it's a lot of people with basically the same interest, which is to make a positive contribution.
And then when did you first hear about the Rotary Club?
Oh, I've known about Rotary for a long time. My grandfather was a Rotarian, something I learned relatively recently, which was good to know. I heard about it when I got close to retirement. I was thinking about things to do in retirement and knew there was a Rotary Club in Foxboro, so I joined that club because I worked here in Foxboro, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been in the club now for going on to 12 years. Was president once before, now I'm doing it for the second time.
So how do you like about Rotary Club, being a Rotarian?
Well, there's a lot of good aspects to it. The feeling that you're making a contribution is the main thing. In addition to that, there's just the general feeling of being together with people that you respect and have a common sense of purpose with, who want to work together for a positive result. So it's both personally satisfying and emotionally satisfying. The diversity in our club is pretty huge. We have a lot of people in our club, including all kinds of professions, and financial people, real estate people, engineering people, which is what I was, healthcare people, so there's a whole, and media people. So there are a lot of people in the club, and the ability to talk to people of all kinds of different experiences, people that you can respect. People there in the club they're just some of the best people I know, and so I'm very happy to be associated with them in the club.
So I don't mean to be secretive, but I am also a Rotarian, Foxboro Rotary Club.
And right, you should brag about that.
I've been fortunate to meet so many wonderful people, like you said, from different occupations and experiences, and we all have the goal of serving community and the service of all self, and it's been wonderful to witness so many great projects that we've done as a Foxborough Rotary Club, and then you now as a president. But before that, like, you've done so many projects, and then leading RILA, and then trip to Mexico. Would you please tell us about that?
Oh, sure. Well, broadly speaking, we try to do projects that involve community issues, international issues, and also youth issues. And in fact, there are areas of focus within Rotary: maternal and child health, youth activities, clean water, education. There's 5 of them altogether. And so we do projects in each one of those things. Specifically, we do have youth programs in Rotary that range all the way from the Early Act, which is a program for middle school kids, 9th graders, try to get them introduced into the concept of serving their community, volunteer work. I was on watching TV this morning, and there was a story about a 10-year-old boy who had raised a lot of money for backpacks. And we've had projects here at the Ahern School. They've made decorative things around town, and so it's been a very good effort there. It starts there. And then for little older kids in high school, we have a program called Interact. Then for younger adults from 20 to 30, we have a program called Rotaract, young professionals. And all of these levels of organizations have more or less the same goal, to try and make some positive contribution. So it's all a lot of youth activities. In particular, you mentioned for the high school age kids, this program called RILA is an event that happens down on the Cape each year, where the kids come together for a leadership weekend and have lots of engaging and challenging activities at a sleepaway camp down on the Cape. There are also youth exchange programs and that take international students, bring them here to the United States, and send them to other countries. Both short-term exchanges that are only a couple of weeks, and long-term exchanges, which are some months and involve attending a school in the host country. The Mexico trip that you mentioned is just a service trip. A lot of Rotary clubs do this. Clubs organize some kind of service trip for kids to do all kinds of things. The particular one that we have done in the past is we take a small group of kids down to a clinic in Mexico, which is in a small community, agricultural community, northwest of Mexico City, where it's an eye clinic where the people who live in and around that area can come and get free eye care for things like glaucoma, and get regular prescription glasses and sunglasses and stuff, things like that. So it's a great trip for the kids because they get to see a different culture, different language, but they also have the feeling of really helping people, and it's all free to the people in the community. Yes. It's a great trip. It's a 1-week trip. So we've had very good success with that. This year, of course, they've cut it back, but we hope to return to that soon.
Yes, absolutely. So last year, Rotary activity, like we've done, your club had done a significant different project, but Nigerian water project and human trafficking summit.
Well, when we were talking about doing this interview, you asked me to come up with a list of things to think you were going to talk about the things we had done last year, and we had so many fingers in so many pies. I didn't think I could remember them all, so I brought a list of things that we've done. And I just want to remind myself of some of them. Let's see.
Sure.
It's, as I mentioned, we try to do projects that affect both the community and the international. The ones we did in Foxborough last year, we've donated money to the Foxborough Community Club, the YMCA, Confi Kids, HESCO. When the COVID thing struck, we did some food projects with the YMCA and a discretionary fund. We got involved for a little while in the distance learning for the high school and for the charter school. We contributed money to the Booth Playground that's just started down the way there. And internationally, we've also done a lot of stuff. We've contributed money to refugee relief in Syria, Alzheimer's research and care, an organization called Akshaya, which does health programs in India. We also, you mentioned specifically, one of the things we've done twice now is we've installed wells, not we didn't do it, but we raised money to get local contractors to put in a well in the villages in Nigeria. We've done 2 now, and we're working on a 3rd by way of getting some money that we raised locally, and also there's a matching grant program from the higher levels of Rotary, funnel some money down into the clubs, and if you can match their donation, we can put together a project. So the well in Nigeria was a very good thing. Each one of those wells, we've done the 2, each one of them has the impact of providing fresh water. Has a lot of impacts that are really good. The local water supplies there, if you don't have a well right in town, people have to walk a long way to get water. It's surface water. It's very dirty, a lot of diseases and organisms in it. Also, just the job, the time involved of going and carrying water a long ways gets in the way of this village getting a more prosperous economy, gets in the way of kids going to school, because a lot of times those kinds of chores fall to the kids, and especially the girls. And so if we can get a well in the town that everybody can use, they'll get a cleaner water supply, they'll have more accessible water, it's healthier water, better for babies and children, and also it frees up the kids to go to school. So that's something we're really pretty excited about.
Yes, absolutely. And then we've done human trafficking summit as well. That was a big one.
Human trafficking last year, Rotary as an organization, Rotary International, has taken up the cause of human trafficking, along with some other causes that they have. But the human trafficking efforts are at many, many levels within Rotary. There are action groups and programs in various clubs. In town here, we wanted to raise the level of awareness and knowledge about human trafficking, and so we hosted a summit over here at the Orpheum Rodman Theater, and brought in speakers about the issue of human trafficking, and just to discuss the problem. It's an amazing thing that it's so much more pervasive and widespread and under the radar than you might think. And that program is continuing. We had just this past week, we scheduled a speaker from a woman named Joan Berry, who's works with human traffic organizations in Boston. We've had a speaker come in from the FBI to talk to us about it, and other enforcement agencies, and we have some plans to distribute materials to places around here where people who are trafficked might be forced to work. People like low-wage jobs, or places where they don't have the freedom to come and go, where they, like for example, domestic labor, things like that. If we can make people aware of what human trafficking looks like, then maybe we can help get some resources available and help people get to resources that can help them escape from these kinds of situations.
Sure.
So, sure. Human trafficking is a big problem, so we're anxious to make some kind of a contribution to that.
And then we've done opioid.
We have. One of the biggest problems with opioids is that lots of people get medicines that are pretty strong, narcotics, which they don't use all of them, or they get so confused they lose track, or they get too many and they don't need as many as they get. But in any case, a lot of the problems with opioid use, one of the biggest ways where kids get introduced to opioids is by raiding their parents and grandparents' medicine cabinets. So the idea of getting rid of old medicines in a way that is environmentally safe is a big deal. You don't want to just dump them down the toilet because they get into the water supply and the groundwater and all that. So, and there are a lot of drug take-back programs, but they're, they happen infrequently, and people have to drive to where they are, and sometimes you don't even know about them. So one of the things that we have done is to provide a safe method of getting rid of excess drugs by putting them in a little pouch and adding some water, some chemicals in the pouch that encloses them in a gel and makes them easy to dispose of in the regular trash. So that's a big thing. We did a project on that last year in combination with the Rotary Club in Sharon. We distributed several hundred pouches to various outlets around town, and it was very successful. We hope to do that again in the future and get even more distribution. That was partially funded by a district grant that came down to us from the higher levels of Rotary. We raised money and got matching money from the Rotary organization. The Rotary organization does projects of all kinds all over the world, from very small things, like relatively small things like that, but also they do projects that are tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in various places around the world. So
yes, absolutely.
It's a huge thing.
What is this year's main focus and project that you're working on at the Foxboro Rotary Club?
Well, this year, of course, is just completely different in all ways. Our club raised funds to do all these things, mostly by parking cars at Gillette Stadium over here for the Patriots games. So that just collapsed. And so our income stream, our funding sources, just dried up completely. And right now, we are engaged in really two different things at the same time. One is raising money and also figuring out how to spend it. On the spending side, as I mentioned, we're going to try to pursue another one of these wells in Nigeria. That's international projects. And domestically, in the community, we have ideas for a lot of community projects, which we might be doing in the near future, because I have a whole list here of things we can work on. Animal habitat cleanups, environmental projects, food pantry collection drives, furniture collection for people who are homeless or trying to get started, kits to donate to kids in hospitals. But those are small local projects. Our big project is the international one for the well in Nigeria. But in the past, the raising money to do these things has been pretty straightforward. We parked the cars, the money came in, we didn't have to worry about that. Now this year we're worrying about it a lot more, because we have to find some other ways to raise money. So we have two projects in the works now, which give me the opportunity, I'll plug these projects for a little bit. Coming up on the 24th of this month, we're having a yard sale in town here, and we hope that people will come by. There should be more advertising about that in the media as time goes on. And also later on in the year, through the colder weather, we're trying to prepare and sell gift boxes to care boxes that can be purchased and sent to people who are far away, like students or soldiers or perhaps homeless people. We'll have different kinds of these boxes. All of the Rotary clubs in the district, all of them, are struggling with trying to raise money when so many things are shut down. Mm-hmm. People don't gather as much as they used to.
Yeah, it's been a very a huge change.
Oh, huge.
Rotary is really
huge.
Camaraderie, and then meeting people and making connections. And
we'll get through this.
Yes.
And when we do, we're going to get back in our more regular routine. We're always looking for people who are like-minded and want to join us in these efforts. So if any of your viewers are interested, we have a website, foxbororotary.org, or you can contact you here at the Foxboro Cable Access. So anybody who's interested in making a contribution to their community, we're very happy to have you. Right now, we're having our meetings by Zoom, virtually, but we have speakers and we have committees. We have Community Committee, International Committee, Youth Committee, different committees to work on different kinds of things. And so we're still in operation, we're in business.
Yes. And then what I really found the Rotary Club to be interested in is not only just, like you said, local chapters, but the district level or worldwide level, you can make a huge connection through the Rotary Club and then get a lot of projects done. What are some of the cool projects that you were involved with different districts? You've done so many.
Well, we've put water filters into the Philippines. We've put computers into Guatemala. We've put educational materials into Afghanistan. We put food into Nigeria. We've put just a bunch of whole different things. We put wells in more than one country. We put medical supplies into India. And Rotary International itself, that's just us. Rotary International itself does hundreds and thousands of projects worldwide, according to these areas of focus that we have. For example, I brought some information just about one of them. There's an organization within Rotary, an action group called WASH, which is associated with water, sanitation, and hygiene. I bet you didn't know, for example, that October the 15th is Global Hand Washing Day. Didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it is. And there are all kinds of grants about that.
Wow.
There are grants, hand washing stations and masking stations being put up around the world, and wash stands in Kenya, for example. Places like that. There's water and health conferences. There's just a lot of stuff going on all over, both internationally and locally. All funded by grants and money that people contribute up into Rotary International by way of dues and fundraising that they make. There's a foundation, Rotary International Foundation, which has a general fund which does anything that they think is good. And then there are funds specifically for the areas of focus. I mentioned them before briefly, but here's the specific list. Peace and conflict resolution, disease prevention, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, and community development. All of those. There are projects going on all over the world in all of those areas. It's an amazing organization to be part of.
Absolutely. And then the main worldwide website is rotary.org.
Rotary, yeah, Rotary.org, that's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Foxborough is Foxborough Rotary.
FoxboroughRotary.org. Yes.
So when
right.
people, and then we have Facebook too.
We have a Facebook page, Foxborough Rotary. And one of the things that we're trying to learn more about, and one of the reasons why we appreciate this opportunity is social media. I'm particularly interested in bringing more social media expertise into the club. So if anybody wants to join us and be part of that, that's a great thing. The world's social media is becoming so important to getting the word out about things. So we're trying to learn about how to do that better than we used to before.
Sure. And what I really love about Rotary personally is that one of my best friend received a scholarship called Ambassadorial Scholarship and then World Peace Fellow Scholarship. And that absolutely changed her life, and now she works for the United Nations in Niger. Without the Rotary Scholarship, that she wouldn't be where she would be. So would you tell some young people if they want a scholarship through the Rotary Club that maybe they can change their lives too?
There are several very prestigious scholarship and grant opportunities. World Peace Fellows that involve paid academic studies and beyond secondary education, PhD levels and master's degree level programs, a lot of those. And they're excellent. And the people who are Peace Fellows go on to make tremendous contributions. But without taking anything away from them, there's not thousands of those. More important, I think, in the long run for the general public is the fact that there are just scholarships like you would get from many kinds of organizations. The Foxborough Rotary Club has scholarships. We donate. We extend. In the past, we've given away as much as $10,000 in scholarships each year to students from the high school and from the charter school. To kids who have demonstrated some kind of commitment to public service, service above self being the motto. So yeah, lots of the kids that are involved in our youth programs apply for scholarships, and we award as much as we can. We have an endowment fund within our club, which has been saving money for years to build up a reserve for situations just like the one we're in now. So we're able to sustain scholarships through this dry spell. But yes, we encourage high school students to apply for scholarships. We also are considering providing scholarships not just to four-year organizations, traditional secondary college levels, but also to other kinds of schools. One of the problems with scholarships, I mean, everybody's certainly glad to get a scholarship, and they always help, of course. But of course, as every parent knows, the cost of college education has gotten more and more and more and more. And so the scholarships that we give are not as impactful as they might be, although, certainly money is money, and it's always grateful. But so we're also broadening our scope of scholarships. The reason I'm mentioning this is because we also want to draw in people who want to go to less, alternative organizations like trade schools and other one-year short schools, where the amount of money that we can give is a much, much larger fraction of the amount of money it takes to get the education. Mm-hmm. So we're interested in those kinds of scholarships as well.
Wonderful.
Also women who are returning to the workforce after having children, for example, or kids who are not inclined to go to a four-year liberal arts school, for example. Those people who are interested in other kinds of education, other avenues of education, we want to support them just as much as we want to support kids who are going on in the more traditional kind of scholarship model.
Well, thank you so much for coming to Foxborough Cable Access and around Foxborough today. As the president of the Foxborough Rotary Club, I really appreciate your time. And do you have any last word for people who are watching this show?
Sure, come to our yard sale.
And also, if people want to join us,
if people want to join us, we'd be happy to have you. You can go to the website. There are links there that will direct you to somebody who wants to give you information about the club and the way we work. Wonderful. But more than anything else, if you want to meet some people who are like-minded with the idea of service, who are interesting and diverse and optimistic and positive, if you want to be involved with a group of people like that, then this is a good club to join.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Lou, for coming.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure, a real opportunity. Appreciate getting the chance to say a little bit about this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching another episode of Around Foxborough. My name is Julia. Our executive director is Michael Weber, director Paul Beck. Our website is fcatv.org. You can go on video demand and then watch another episode of Around Foxborough. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.